Welcome to the Sweet and Sassy Show podcast. This is episode number 22. I am very excited about this conversation today with Mollie Lowe. I'm a very planned person, scheduled person, but I've actually learned to allow more creativity and space for that in my life. So we didn't have a topic set for today and we came in. Mollie told me a really amazing story and it evolved into our topic, which we're going to call something along these lines: manifest your dreams, because it's written on the paper that's in front of me. And she manifested something that she didn't even know was going to be attracted into her world. Manifest your dreams without unhealthy and toxic urgency. Urgency is very important in some ways, but forcing things and not just opening up space to allow, it doesn't allow those things to happen that you really want. So urgency is really important, but also opening up and allowing and attracting what you want is even more important. So take it away here, Mollie Lowe.
I am so excited. Seriously, like this, I was just saying to John, we should just not even because of course, like we do all the niceties, like, hey, how you doing, all the stuff, right? And next time we should just click record right away because it just comes like seeing the
All
aha moment
right.
so special, right?
We'll see how it evolves next time. Sounds good.
Yes, yes,
I'm
yes,
all for it. I'm all
yeah,
for it.
yes. But listen, y'all, I'm so excited to share. As I shared with Jen, I just closed and secured my very first corporate contract, which I was not looking forward to. It wasn't something that was like, I shouldn't say it, like I was looking forward to it, but it was not planned. It was one of those things where it just kind of like once it comes into your orbit, once it comes into your reality, then you get to respond to it. And you're like, oh, is this for me? Is this what I want to do? Things of that nature. And so I have a wonderful opportunity to be a part of a global corporation sales academy. And I'm coming in to talk all things LinkedIn sales, LinkedIn marketing, LinkedIn profile optimization, which you all know that's my jam. And so really excited for this. And as I shared, because I mean, it doesn't really matter, but that also matters because it's big for me, a $32,000 contract at this. And so I'm
Massive.
just like, oh, like,
Well,
oh,
and the big thing about it that we wanted to talk about is that she just talked about it casually in the past. It was kind of thrown little bits and pieces into the universe and it came back to her unexpectedly. So the whole thing was that she said there was no urgency behind it. I said about the intention. You go into a meeting not knowing what the intention is, and you're there and you show up and you're present regardless of the outcome. You want to intentionally, we're all growing our businesses intentionally, having conversations intentionally. And then the fact that you can do that without expectations. So tell us a little bit about how it happened. She said within a few days, basically, she sat on it and here's where it went. So tell us a little bit
yeah.
of the story.
Yeah, so this is how this happened. Okay, so I got this random email DM. Okay, like they literally slid in my and we all know on LinkedIn lots and lots of cold pitches, which shoot your shot, whatever. Okay, and so it was just kind of like there, and I thought to myself, oh, that's I don't know, do I want to respond to this or not? Literally gave it about 3 to 4 days. There wasn't this like ooh like it wasn't obvious. It wasn't this obvious message of hey, by the way, we have this amazing opportunity for it was a very vague message of just like, hey, came across your profile, would love to talk to you about potential collaboration. I'm like, okay, right? And to your point, I just kind of slept on it. I was like, oh, let's see. But there was this tug. I don't know how else to explain it besides this intuition, this nudge internally. It says, you should go back to this message and respond. And so I did. And in true Molly fashion, if you guys know me, my top two favorite ways of communicating on LinkedIn is via a voice note or a video. And so I sent her a voice note. I was just like, hey, thanks for nudging. Yeah, absolutely. Let's chat. Let's hop on a call, blah, blah, blah. And we hopped on a Zoom call. Again, I had no idea that this was going to be a formal sales call or nothing, right? Now, mind you, Jen, I love that you talked about the intention piece of it because I do very much love sales. I am very good at sales. So as soon as the conversation as soon as I realized that that was what was happening, I already knew my brain switched into okay, sales strategies, sales vibes, sales energetics. How do I go about articulating who I am, my value, what I can do, all the things. But there was no pressure. There wasn't any like nerves. It was just me showing up, having a conversation, a real genuine experience of me. And I allowed for them to ask me questions, and it was just a free flowing conversation.
Yes.
So that's how it happened.
Yeah, yeah. And so I love that you touched on the intuition, that's something I talk about. And you also, your business is all about strategy and spirituality, as you've talked before, that the missing piece is the spirituality piece. So, um, intuition and decision making is something that many people ignore, and you have to also decipher between anxiety and intuition. But that was one of my biggest lessons learned in my life is to never ignore my intuition. If something doesn't feel right, it's not right, and to never ignore that. And then it comes to in decision making, when you have it, like you said, you flipped your switch to, okay, I'm going to go into sales mode, do what I need, but still show up fully present as myself. But your intuition, you didn't ignore the nudge. That happened to me in some business situations. Like, is this something I should give my energy or attention to? Is this the right time to make the next move for what I was going to get to later, outsourcing tasks? It might be like it's hanging out, lingering there, and it keeps talking to you, so you can't keep ignoring it. So when the time is right, then you can take action on those things. So you gave it a few days. I love it because I talk about too with decision making, not making a decision is a decision also. If something is stressful and it still matters after 2 days, then make a decision. If it doesn't, let it go. Even in a business decision, even too with the story, I'm not going to get in the whole story with my current boyfriend. I had a dream about him, and basically, I don't remember my dreams normally. And I hadn't talked to him in a year, somebody I had known, blah, blah, blah. I had a dream about him all night long on my former anniversary, wedding anniversary. And I woke up and I'm like, geez, that's weird. And I sat on it for a couple days before I decided to text him. I was like, I don't ever remember my dreams. My dream was very vivid. There was a reason that we connected, and I decided to take action on it. So, intuition, decision making, not making a decision is a decision. Give things time. And then that goes into urgency too. So, not everything is an emergency. We tend to think that everything is emergency. We tell ourselves things are emergencies. And you don't have to always immediately make a decision. You don't always have to immediately take action, even though we're very driven, logical, action-oriented people. You don't have to make those decisions. So yeah, all of those things all tie in together. So um and the next part we were going to talk about too. So if there's anything more about the story you want to share, go ahead. But basically, what I wrote down was not having the expectations, the fact that we talk about it all the time, creating, attracting, and allowing, and responding. And that's more the whole masculine, feminine energy. So whatever else you want to share about the story, and then get into the next piece.
Yeah, I think that you guys have heard me say this a lot about a beautiful harmony between masculine and feminine energies. And this isn't to say that the masculine is bad, right? And the feminine is good. It's literally you understanding, and this is what I've taken time to understand is how do I show up in my masculine energy in business, right? And so the masculine side of how I manifested this opportunity was I show up as the LinkedIn expert on my profile. I mean, how they found me was by putting in LinkedIn strategies, LinkedIn sales into the search bar, and I showed up. If I didn't take the action, the strategy side of optimizing my LinkedIn profile, putting out there what my frameworks are, my strategies are, things of that is a very masculine way of saying,
Yes.
I am the go-to expert, by the way, and I'm not shy. I'm going to take up space, right? I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to share what I know. That's a very masculine way of showing up, is taking space, taking action, execution, strategy, right? That is masculine. And that feminine, divine feminine energy was me when I got that message to say, does it feel aligned to me? Listen to your intuition, right? We don't need to lean into that toxic masculine of, oh no, there's not enough time. I got to go and do it. And the FOMO energy was not there. And so for me, feminine energy in that healthy sense of
Yes.
allowing, embracing, right? And truly tuning into my intuition was key. Because, I mean, what's 3 to 4 days? I mean, sure, if I would have known, maybe, I don't know, but I didn't know. I had no clue what this opportunity was going to be. And so it is very much that beautiful balance. And I think we're most of us, especially as entrepreneurs, and moms too, parents, we're always on the go. We're always doing something for or with our children. Sometimes it does require us to just pump the brakes, give it some time and space to really decide, is this for us? And then respond, right? And this was a beautiful, perfect example of like, dang, pat on the back for Molly. Like, I literally was like, okay, this is great. You're showing up in your healthy masculine this way. That's why they found you. And you responded to their message in your divine feminine energy to
Yes.
really ensure that it's a right fit for you. So, yeah.
Totally. You said the divine energy, the divine feminine energy, and then we were getting into also divine timing.
Yeah.
So allowing things to happen when they're supposed to happen, allowing things to, we tend to take, you talked about the balance of feminine, masculine. I talk all the time about the balance of the logic mind and the heart. So that's the intuition. But basically, the divine timing of, yes, you have expectations, you have goals, but things are going to happen the way they're going to happen, when they're going to happen. I know people have told me before, most business owners wish that they would outsource sooner. I know that I am not operating in my zone of genius if I'm doing $10 an hour tasks and jobs. Um, it just took the right time for me to decide, hey, these are the 6 tasks. It's about 4 to 5 hours a month. It's time. Now is the time. So everybody evolves and grows at their own pace. And so trusting that and allowing that too. So um, being able to know that in advance, that allowing things to flow. There's ups, there's downs, life and business. Applying everything we talk about to life and business, parenting, not forcing things. The more that it's the urgency part. So the more that I try to control what's going on in the home or with the children. The more I step back, the more things just naturally flow and go the way that they should. Same thing in the business. The more I step back and just focus my energy and my attention where it needs to go, the more naturally just happens and allows. So everything we talk about in every episode, it seems like the same common things come up, even though we have a different topic. So this is an amazing story, and I'm glad that it evolved into what we shared today. Um, yeah, creating and attracting, balancing that masculine feminine energy. Yeah, again, it's just so interesting how everything's like the same common principles that come up, those key pillars to growth and everything. And again, the timing, it happens in a different time or place for everybody. Wherever you are is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Or in other words, what is for you will never pass you, right?
Yes, yes,
It,
yes, yes.
that really truly is just that. So, absolutely.
I'd like to see if we can have maybe one specific actionable thing to kind of take away as well from what we've talked about. Anything in particular you'd like to, I mean, the trusting your intuition piece is very important, but what stood out to you?
Yeah, so this is what I would recommend for action items for people who are exercising or starting to lean into more of the balance between masculine and feminine. So in my mind, that would be strategy and spirituality.
Yeah.
So again, when I think, obviously I'm going to put a LinkedIn spin to this because that's who I am. I really want for you guys to think about this from a strategy perspective. Or how are you showing up as a thought leader in your space? How are you sharing your specific, unique perspectives on things, right? What are you doing to ensure that you're taking up space? When we think about space, from a digital marketing perspective, the space is abundant. There is, it's not like a physical box where we can put ourselves in. But are you taking space? And how would you like to take up space on LinkedIn that's easy, simple, and exciting for you from a strategy perspective, right? And then from a feminine energy perspective is just that. How can you allow for yourself some moments of silence to increase that intuition gauge? Just like you said, Jenna, which I love what you said. Like you got to know, is it angst and fear that's the as is the actual feeling, or is it truly your intuition? And the way that I've been able to strengthen my intuition has been to allow myself 10 to 15 minutes a day of just sitting in silence to be like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, this is what comes up when I think about this topic, right? Like, ooh, yeah, that's more fear, or that's more, right? Or that feels really good. It's a little scary, but it's exciting, right? And this speaks to me. So those are my tips for you guys. And that's how you go and integrate strategy and spirituality. So how are you showing up on LinkedIn? How are you making space for yourself, taking up space, and silence and calm moments to strengthen that intuition muscle?
Yeah, I agree with all what you said, and I would say for the actionable thing I tend to teach is this is just comes from my healthcare background and my coaching, and I pretty much teach the same thing to everybody every day in all the things that I do. I'm not like a nervous system regulation expert, but in general, power in the pause, like you say. So whatever that structure is, if you have 5 to 10 minutes a day in the morning that you meditate, you journal, whatever it is, power of the pause, that's, a little more active, I guess. But taking 5 minutes a day a few times a day to just pause and take a few deep breaths. And then the other part of it is, sometimes my greatest thoughts come when I'm just taking a short walk or even in the shower. I actually probably have my most creativity and thoughts when I'm in the shower. So allowing those things to happen, I'd say, and paying attention to them. If you know that it's going to be shower time and you tend to have your most thoughts, allow that, set yourself up for success. Use that time and space to allow the creativity to come forward, or just in general, just being present and focused is what it is with the 5 minutes a few times a day that you just pause, take a few deep breaths, not even just in the moment. So I like to talk about the structures in place, like through your daily routine. And then you have the whole other side of what do you do in the moment? You don't have to have pressure. You don't have to have urgency to make that decision. So pause on things for 2 to 3 days if you don't need to. If your kids don't need you immediately, they don't need you immediately. Is this an emergency? No. Give yourself time and space. And I guess there's a lot that really goes into that as well. So just a few practical ideas. But again, I feel like every topic we have, we could just go on a whole nother 30-minute conversation
Absolutely.
from here as well. So all right, so I'll close it out. This is episode 22, like I said. So stay tuned by the second Friday of every month that we share topics for business and parenting and all things entrepreneurship. So thanks for joining us today, Sweet and Sassy Show podcast. Leave us a comment below and definitely connect with Molly Lowe and Jen Carpenter across all of our socials. Thank you.